Welcome to Brain Vision.
Chapter 3, Problem 56 says determine the number of valence electrons in each element. Which elements do you expect to lose electrons in chemical reactions? Which do you expect to gain electrons? Let's draw a periodic table there with this illustration. So, when we're looking at the number of valence electrons, we do not focus on the D block, transition metals, or the F block. We just focus on our main group elements. And the column tells you, or the group tells you the number of valence electrons. Group 1 has 1, group 2 has 2. We skip groups 3 through 12. Group 13 has 3, 14 has 4. Group 15 would have 5, 16 has 6, 17 has 7, and group 18 has 8. We can use this trend to identify whether during a reaction an element will gain or lose electrons. The gaining or loss of electron all depends on the ability to have a full energy level, outer energy level. So it either will gain them to have 8, or it will lose them to have 0 in that outer energy level, and the energy level beneath it will be the full energy level. So if something is, for example, it has 3 valence electrons, it's easier to lose 3 valence electrons than it would be to gain 5 valence electrons. So it's likely to lose these electrons. Where if something has 5 or higher, it's easier to gain 3 electrons to have a total of 8 than to lose 5 electrons to have 0 in that energy level. So let's look at some of these examples. The first one given to us is aluminum, Al. If we find aluminum on the periodic table, we notice that it is in group 13, 3A, so it has 3 valence electrons. Again, it's going to either have a full energy level with 0 valence electrons in energy level 3 and 8 in energy level 2, or having a total of 8 in energy level 3. So if we're here at aluminum, it's easier to lose 2 electrons and have 0 in energy level 2 than to gain 5 electrons and have 8 in energy level 3. So what we're going to do is identify this as 3 and say that it's more likely to lose electrons. It has 3 valence electrons and is more likely to lose. Let's move on to the next example. We have Sn, which is 10. If we find 10 on our periodic table, we'll notice that it is atomic number 50. That is in group 14. So this has 4 valence electrons, which means it can either lose 4 and have 0 or gain 4 and have 8. With this being said, it can gain or lose. Let's move on to Br, which is C. We find Br on our periodic table. We'll notice that it's group 17, which means it has 7 valence electrons. It is much easier to gain 1 valence electron and have a total of 8 than it would be to lose 7 and go backwards. So bromine is going to have 7 valence electrons, and it's going to be more likely to gain. And our last example is Se, which is selenium. Finding that on the periodic table will take us to group 6A, group 16, which has 6 valence electrons. It's more easy to gain 2 electrons than it would be for it to lose 6 electrons. Therefore, selenium will have a 6 valence electrons and a gain in electrons when reacting.